Welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, GD. Sorry, let me interrupt for an alternative universe. An alternative universe, my test universe, you might say. Because in the last episode, well, we covered some of the new weapons, some of the new items. We covered the Jammer Tower and also the Plasma Tower. But I missed in the patch notes and I missed in the game the new pile sorter. So we need to talk about the pile sorter, and hence I invite you to my test world with my test Icarus. As you can see, he's slightly more bulletproof than the previous versions of Icarus that I've had, on the fact that he's slightly harder to hit, but also he's much easier to walk around and see what the hell we're doing when we're working close up and looking at important things. So today we're going to be looking at the pile sorter. So I'm on a brand new map, and it's very, very important I make the distinction of we're on a brand new map because, well, some things have changed between a brand new save and an existing save. If you've played up until now, Dyson Sphere, you will remember that a Mark 1 sorter was great, Mark 2 sorter was faster, and then a Mark 3 sorter had stacking. So it could move a certain amount of items per movement of the handle, the inserter, the grabby bit. And then, well, the devs recently added the pile sorter. The pile sorter is different from the previous sorters as it has a couple of upgrades, and we're going to talk about each one of those. But first off, we need to talk about how an inserter works. Well, sorry, a sorter. Very, very important I make that distinction of a sorter. So if I put down a Mark 1 and we run all three belts, I have some counters here. So these are counting over 5 seconds to give us an average over 5 seconds. We can see that these guys are, well, struggling. They're struggling. They do about 90, about 45, and around about 30. Because if we bring up this guy, he has a 1.5 trips per second. You have 0.75 trips per second, and you have about 0.5 trips per second, i.e. the further he has to go, the less material he can move. Now, if we do that and upgrade them all to the next tier, we're going to see that the Mark II has a faster movement speed. So the Mark I has a 1.5 trips per second per grid. Yeah, I know that's confusing. It just means that that's the amount of cargo they can move per tile. Yes, that's the important thing. The further they are away, the less material they can move. But the Mark II has a 3 trips per second per grid. So now you can see we went from 90 to about 180. We went from 45 to around about 90, and we went from 30 to about 60. That's with the Mark II version. Now, the Mark III version was a little bit more interesting because it supported stacking previously. No, it supported moving multiple cargo items at once. In fact, it had a whole dedicated upgrade in the tree right about here somewhere where you could research the ability for it to move more items per movement of the head. That has now been removed. So, and this only applies in new saves and existing saves. You get to keep that little upgrade. But if I now upgrade them to the next tier, well, we can see he has a trip of 6 per second. So he is going to be twice the speed of the previous version. And normally people use the tier 3 sorter mainly for the fact that you didn't have to then worry about what sort of distance you were moving things in and out on belts. That was the real reason people used the T3. The extra capacity was sort of nice, it sort of helped, but it really didn't matter too much. It was more about, you know, I want to be able to move at least items in and out fast enough to make it to that tier 3. Yeah, that third belt segment. So this is now moving 120 items per minute, which is, well, it is 1.15 cargos in total per second. Yeah. No, that's still wrong. Yeah, it's 120, so it's 2 items per second. This is 3 items per second, and this is 6 items per second. Yeah. So it's moving at least fast enough that even the fastest machines it could keep up with, assuming you weren't proliferating for speed. Yeah, there were some caveats where they weren't big quite fast enough, but don't forget that previously they also could carry 6 items at once, so they'd actually move a lot more materials and a lot faster. And this is what we had previous to the latest update. The latest update adds the pile sorter. Now, the pile sorter is very, very important in the fact that it gets a bunch of upgrades. So here we have pile sorter can fit out 2 stacked cargo. So now we need to talk about piling and stacking, because if you look at, actually, let's just pause the clock. Yeah, if we look at these items, these are all iron stacks. And as you can see, they look like they're 4 tall, because they are 4 tall. Whereas over here, they're 1 tall. In fact, if I unpause the game, and I just very quickly run a belt from, actually, let's not even plug it in, and I use, let's go with a T1 sorter. Can I give myself an extra tile? T1 sorter, from there to there. T sorter 1 is going to move, well, that pile of items from there to there, irrespective of what upgrades the sorter has or does not have. It's just going to move that stack of stuff to there. So it can technically move a 4 stack of items. Now, how do we get items stacked up? Well, there was a couple of ways. Previously, we had, it's now under transportation, you had to use the automatic piler, which would let you take in, well, a whole belt full of 1 high item, whole belt full of items that were stacked 1 high, and then this would capture those items and stack them one on top of one another to give you 2 high. And then if you happen to have another belt that was running at sort of an off speed, you could then have a 2 item and a 1 item come in, and then you could stack them up and you can get 3 items high. And of course, if you had 2 items coming in perfectly, 2 lots of 2 items coming in perfectly, you get up to 4 high. The other option was through towers. Towers have the research to, well, automatically stack on the way out. On the way out only. And honestly, the piler, I always had problems with. I always had problems with it trying to get it to output things that are 2 high stack, and even larger problems getting to output things that are 4 high stack. It could be done. It was a little bit difficult. I actually seen a couple of blueprints that did a whole lot better than just putting them on the belts, and it could be done. I'm not denying it could be done, but like I said, it was very, very problematic. But using a tower, guaranteed to work every time. As long as it had enough for at least 2 items in the machine, in the tower at the same time, they come out at a 2 high stack. 3 items would come out at a 3 high stack. 4 items would come out at a 4 high stack. And in fact, I'd actually use towers in a couple of my blueprints for, like, blue juice, for argument's sake, where I needed to have more than 30 items on the belt per second. So I'd use a tower to make sure I had that piling working perfectly, rather than relying on the so-so capabilities of the automatic piler. But as it stands right now, if you go belt to belt, and that's the qualification I'm going to make, with any sort of sorter, they will automatically make sure that things are piled up to the correct level, well, piled up to the exact same level. So you can have an insane throughput as long as you're using things that are already stacked. As for normal sorters, they're going to put things out always at, again, if we pause it, a 1 tile height. Now, if I just borrow this belt for half a second and we run you out to there, and then I put in, where are we? Transportation, piler, in there, and no, run it forward. We can see that I'm not fitting items into this fast enough that it actually piles up. Okay, not even close. If I turn that off for a little bit and let it stack up a few items, and then hook that belt back into there and hit pause, you can see these are now going to come out too high because I'm feeding items in fast enough. And that was always the problem with these things. They were problematic for a number of reasons, this just being the quickest and easiest for me to demonstrate. But with the pile sorter, we've got a couple of new things. One, they're going to move an awful lot of material per second. There's actually one of these at the back in that's feeding all 3 of these belts. On top of that, a lot of people have pointed out we could do this, and let's hit the pause button. And as you can see, this is just stacking the items just on the belt. It's doing exactly as where were we? Transportation. It's doing the exact same thing as one of these were, except this is in a single tile on the belt. This thing is a single tile's width if it feels like it. It doesn't always feel like it. It all depends on where you are on the planet. A belt is always 1 tile thick. Always. And if we unpause, eventually we'll have enough material on here. that this will block up, and there we go. Oh, we can see there. There is now a full stack coming out because this pile sorter gets the situation where it's full. The 3 pieces of material it has in here are all full, so it has to let something out, and when it does, that's going to be fully stacked. Just a convenient little feature. Can I remove you? And can we put one here for better demonstration purposes? And it's just flowing backwards, and we'll do this and this. And can I have all 3 of you output? So if you had a string of, say, smelters, a string of, say, assemblers, you could use your normal blueprint, normal existing build, and rather than you trying to fit in a automatic piler somewhere in the build, you could just use one of these guys partway through the build and then make sure everything gets stacked along the way, just improving your belt throughput. Because if you stack 3 items 3 high, you go from a total belt speed of 30 per second all the way up to, well, 120. Yeah, it gives you insane belt throughput. Okay, all right, can we unpause and let that flow? All right, now we do have access to the new pile sorter. Now, the new pile sorter does a couple of things. And where are you? Okay, so the pile sorter, okay, when you first unlock it, it can feed into items. It can feed in a stacked cargo of 2 and output a stacked cargo of 1. Yes, and then when you get the first upgrade, it can now feed out a stack height of 2. Then when we get to the next one, it can now load a stack of 3 off a stack. So if you have a stack 4 high, it's only going to take the top 3. Yep. But it's still going to output 2. So it's not perfect yet. Once you get to the next tier, you can now feed in 3 and out 3. Then we get to the next tier where we can load in 4 but output 3. Then we get to the next one where we can output 4 and load 4. And then we get to this one. This one's the important one. Okay, this one is going to make everything different. This is the final upgrade, and this is where they get insanely powerful. Because if we go back to our first example with you, which did a trip of 1.5 per second per grid, you did 3 per second per grid, you do 6 per second per grid, and you, it only applies until you get that last research, does 10 trips per second. Not per grid, but per second outright. So if we put you on there, you're doing a whole lot of distance. So you have a 2 trips per second. You have a 3 trips per second. And you, being the shortest distance, have a 6 trips per second. Prior to the last upgrade, this guy has 10 trips per second, irrespective of length. So that makes a massive difference. Also, when it comes to, well, the final upgrade, well, remember how we had the counters on there? If I just pop one of these on here, it's going to take out things at 4 stack high, which means our belts, which normally move 30 items per second, therefore 180 per minute, therefore when stacked 4 high is 7,200 per minute. Now this is super short range, so you'd expect it to be 7,200 per minute because it's super short range. But if I double the range, you sort of expect that slowdown, the same slowdown we had with the tier 1, the tier 2, and the tier 3 sorters. I got bad news. There's no slowdown whatsoever. Yep. And then if we take that up to a third distance, yeah, there's not going to be a slowdown here either. It's still going to do 7,200 per minute, which does mean if you start using these in your builds, they are a little bit more power heavy. Not that power really matters at this point. Like, it's twice the amount of power, but we're talking kilowatts. We're talking kilowatts where a lot of machines are using megawatts worth of power. Sure, you do use a lot of sorters and that does add up, but we're talking kilowatts. It does mean that automatically you can, well, rather than making a smelter that's, say, you know, for tier 1 belt, you're normally going for 6 long, and then tier 2 belt, you go for 12 long, and tier 3 belt, you go for 30 long. If you're using these pile sorters, well, the belt still moves 30, but now you can stack it 4 high. You can have your smelter arrays now be 120 long, fed into 1 tower. Now, how the hell are you going to feed that? Seems like a not me problem. Seems like a you problem. But, yeah, they have insane throughput. It also means, and this is why we have a different example right here, if I have U output with a normal sorter, and then I have U, actually, can I do U plus U plus U? And can we just stop you for a second? And can I also do that to make sure we have a loop? Cool. Hopefully this syncs up. Oh yeah, we'll get some gaps in there. Also means I can do this. And we're gonna wander over here and hit the pause button, so that way we can see what's exactly happening. We can see that the original ones being the T3 sorters are dumping out one item each. And they're doing it super fast because they're the super fast sorters. And then this guy's filling in any gaps. And he's filling in with, well, whatever he can fit in at full height. Which is cool and gives you more abilities for sushi belts. Now, I'm not suggesting you should have sushi belts, but you could have sushi belts should you want to have sushi belts. And you can now stack individual items full high without a care. Also means if we just do this again and I put one of these here instead, you're going to move a full stack's worth. Yeah, you are putting out one item, you're putting out one item, and then this guy is stacking on top of those existing items. Actually, it's probably better if I do... Can we go there, 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 there? Yeah. And just remove you, and that way we have a little bit more length we can look at. 1, 2, and 3, sure. That looks absolutely weird. Okay, so we have all sorts of items coming out in any sort of order. And what this guy is doing is he's just stacking on top. So he's going from 1 high to automatically up to, well, 4 high, because that's the research that I've got. I've got the last tier of research. The other very important thing with these guys is with the last tier of research, they load and unload simultaneously. Which does mean that, yes, over any length, as I've already demonstrated, they do 120 items per second, which means they are amazingly fast. There. Yeah, he's just emptying the belt. Like a single pile sorter is emptying the belt, which is coming out at 30 per second and stacked full height. So there's 120 items per second just going straight into this box. I'm never going to run out. It's going to loop forever perfectly. Yeah. And if I put you on a different belt, can I get you to loop as well? Out to here, out to here, out to here, out to here, out to here. Yeah, same story. It's gonna drain a whole belt with just one sorter. So yeah, the new pile sorters. Impressive. So impressive that, yes, they're definitely part of my mall. They're already updated in the mall blueprint, and I'm probably going to flat upgrade to these guys. Not that I need to. Like, in a lot of circumstances, you could, as I showed, just put a simple backward belt. You know, if you want to have a smelter array that happens to be 120 long, you could use your Mark III sorters up until now, and then just every 30 of them, just put one of these guys in to just stack everything up. So they're fully stacked, and then the next run can happen, and then you can stack them again. And, you know, probably wouldn't be every 30. You probably have to do it every 20, just to have that little bit of buffer room. But yeah, you could put in one of these guys and just stack things as they go, and, you know, everything will be fine, everything will be peachy. But I think as I want to have a limited amount of items that I'm carrying with me, I think I'm going to change over my logistics to just carry the pile sorter and be done with it. And the Mark III sorter will be dead to me. I do need to mention, once again, that if you have an existing save, these guys have the carry capacity of 6 already baked into them. You kept that bit of research. If you start a new game, and it's only in a new game, they lose that ability to carry multiple items at once. So that actually makes the pile sorter even more powerful in a new game. In the existing game, there's a little bit of a muchness between them. Obviously, the Mark III can't stack. It can only have a single item on the belt at any time, whereas the pile sorter can. So there's that catch to it. But yeah. There's going to be a whole lot of pile sorters in the future. So with that out of the way, let's leave this alternative reality and go back to, well, standard GD. And today's episode, we've got a couple of things we need to do. First off, now the interruptions are all done, we need to talk about, today's plans. Today's plans are going to be a couple of things. First off, we need to make a new sphere because our white science research is going well, except we're short on critical photons. Also, critical photons open up a couple more weapon opportunities for us. Not always like playing with weapons. It's the best way to deal with the dark fog. Also, we need to, set up Reno number 2. We got it set up last episode. Well, we ended last episode with me putting down the planetary defense, which has the cannons, has power input, but it's not launching any rockets. We need to have it launching rockets. Also, we need to have it launching sails. So that's going to be the number one job for today. Get rockets up, get sails up. Also, I need to do a little bit of smelting, just a tiny bit of smelting on this planet, and we need to test our new interstellar delivery methods. We need to make sure it actually works. It needs a test run. So that's going to be today's plan. So with today's plan out of the way, I need to ask that very important question. That very important question being, of course, well, can I borrow a like? I just like to borrow a like. I like to borrow a like. Voltron's even getting down on one knee and begging you, can we borrow a like? If you're not happy with the video, you didn't enjoy the video, well, by all means, later on in the video, you can have your like back. But can you watch at least to the end? Anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about today's plan. So, today's plan is blueprints. Why blueprints? Well, because it just makes life effective. It makes life quick, makes life easy. It means that I don't have to go through the struggle of trying to get 50 rocket launchers around the pole. And you don't have to sit here for 20 minutes literally watching me to do that, because it wasn't easy. But now it's available in a blueprint. And if you're interested in my blueprints, they're always available in my Discord server. We need to grab, not the carrier rockets, the rocket ring. The rocket ring. Now, the rocket ring, when you grab this blueprint, it will probably you'll find it fixed to this area of the map somewhere, because, okay. So I'm holding one end of it, and the distance between all the sorters seems to change as I slide it up and down the planet. I believe it goes in this tile. The only way to find out for sure is by clicking. And nothing complains, so I guess that is the correct tile. I do need to take those out, put them in the actual inventory, not in the extra inventory. Yes, and we need to get this rocket ring built. Now, this rocket ring's special. All the rockets go around and they're all joined together with sorters. So literally all it does is ring around the rosy rockets, which is not really what we want long term. Long term, we'd like to put rockets in somewhere, and we'd like to launch them somewhere. So what I'm going to do is change you to number 2, remove that whole belt. And in number 2, I'm going to say, you know what? I would really like it if we had rockets. We're going to hit demand. We're going to throw rockets in there. We're going to pull some of those out and some of those out, so I can tick that button. And we missed a rocket launcher, did we? Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Okay. And then we're going to grab a belt from... Oh, rotate. We're going to grab a belt from here. We're going to bring out our rockets, and we're going to bring them down here in a straight line over there. And then we're going to fly over here and talk about exactly how we're going to set this up. So we're going to turn on the nightlight, because it just makes life a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing and me to see what I'm doing. And our plan is a simple one. We're going to bring this in as close as we can to this particular rocket silo, because like I said, all it does is pass the rockets around in circles. I also need to make sure I bring in rockets somewhere, and to do that, we're going to go to this pole, and I'm going to say, hey, I want some basics here. So I want warpers. Warpers going to be pretty important on this particular planet. No. Local supply, remote demand. Thank you. Also going to need rockets, those ones. And I'm also going to want sails. We're going to want to launch sails from this planet as well, so we might as well get these imported whilst we can. And then, well, rockets will get flown over here. All right, so once this belt comes down here and joins into this line, I need to start launching them in here. And the way we test this system is if I put in rockets here, and then rockets end up here, they're all passing towards the left, or to the right, depending on orientation, then they've made it all the way around the ring, which means every single sorter went down perfectly and there were no faults whatsoever. But it looks much more impressive if I already have a sphere up and running. So we're going to make a sphere. We're going to delete the first sphere because it's bad, and we're going to go for maximum size, orbit inclination. We're going to flip it back to front, upside down, whatever it happens to be. Longitude doesn't really matter, and we're going to hit create. Now, with that in place, I need to go about building a sphere. Now, building a sphere is fun. It's fun the first couple of times you've done it, but I've done it a number of times, so I'm just going to go paste. And then you end up with the lovely Subtagetti sphere. Yep, this is going to be our sphere. I'm not going to make it complicated. I'm just going to, you know, in a galactic advertising campaign, insist that have you click the subscribe button. Happy to wait for a minute, just a second, just for you to confirm you've definitely clicked the subscribe button. If you have clicked the subscribe button, by all means, leave a comment down below saying that you have clicked the button. If you've just clicked the button now, because, well, I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort into building a sphere that needs 27,000 rockets and 665,000 sails for you to click the button, then again, down in the comment section, just tell me so. Yeah, I'd appreciate it. But this is going to be our sphere. So we need to start launching rockets. So I need to add a sorter here. Now, the better quality sorter I can add, the best quality sorter you can add is always going to, you know, help launch this faster. I only have access to the sorter Mark III. I still, because I have an old save, have the load stack capability of 6, so this would be fine. Realistically, I should be using a pile sorter, but obviously I don't have any of those on me. And with that out of the way, we should have... Can I? You don't have power. You ruined the roundabout. Okay, launch. You're all gonna be out of sync now. Due to one power pole. Almost. All right. So she go all the way around. And this is why we test the system. And should get to here. If this guy gets rockets, he does, and he launches, everything is fine. So that should start mass launching rockets. Now, this particular build, if we look at the blueprint, the rocket ring can launch 250 rockets per minute. Now, my carrier rocket build makes 300, and the idea of that is I always want to produce a little bit extra than my launch capabilities. In theory, it should be identical, but there's always those things that, like, you might want to just have a rocket launcher or two, slowly build a sphere somewhere else. So I don't mind, you know, but the prior production has a little bit of overproduction before we get to the next step, which has just slightly less. Also means all the systems stay backed up, and that makes it just a little bit easier to work out where your bottlenecks are. Okay, so next thing is I want to go to the other side of the planet, because I also need to launch sails, an awful lot of sails, 665,000 sails it turns out. So we're going to come to here. Now, here I need to launch sails. I also need to have some sort of orbit for them to launch into. The game defaults you to one orbit. You could just launch everything in one more orbit. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. In my case, well, I like the Skittles orbit. I like the Skittles orbit so much that I upped it. There are now 20 Skittles orbits. Yeah, of varying sizes and varying inclinations and whatever it happens to be, which then means I'd have to go through and I'd have to manually set like every single different EM launcher to each different orbit. It would take some time. It would take some effort. Or I could load up a blueprint. Again, this is 105 railguns, and yes, okay. So I am holding it by the edge, and as you can see, if we drag it too far, suddenly that last little belt has to be very, very long. I believe I want to put you in this tile. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. If you want to grab my blueprints, they're all available on Discord. If you choose to grab this blueprint, I think you'll find it'll have an extra belt just here, just going over. Well, the what do they call them? One of the tropic line. It'll go over a tropic line, yes. Because it'll be going over a tropic line, it'll get locked into position, so you can't slide it up and down. It's a feature I'm looking to use, so it makes placing these sorts of blueprints a whole lot easier. But I'm going to be placing you... Maybe it's there. Actually, this is not the spot I'm meant to hold it by. Let's press tab. Let's press tab. That's the spot I'm meant to hold it by. There we go. Okay, this is the middle. I can now tell it's the middle because there's a gap to my left. You need to go not on that line, but down one, I believe. Either way, the important thing is the EM rail ejectors on the north side, or the south side, the ones at the top of the screen. Let's go with the top of the screen. Should be able to clear the plasmas, and they all clear the plasmas. If I go up one tile, they still clear the plasmas. Okay, seems it doesn't matter. See, now we have a whole bunch of being blocked by the plasmas. So that tile. Okay, quickly scroll around the map because it definitely has some errors due to, well, stuff in the way, and we're going to press Shift Enter because I don't mind the stuff in the way. I could move each one of these miners and remove them and you know, be able to place things then, but I honestly don't want to. I would much prefer if we kept the mined resources, especially I don't really want to have 7,000 copper in my pocket, and well, we'll just in the future at some stage mine out those resources, and then I can put it in the extra cannons if I wish to. I do need to actually have the cannons in my inventory, and once again, blueprints wise, this is 105 railguns in theory if the whole blueprint goes down. Obviously mine didn't completely go down, and it will launch 35 per second. My standard blueprint for making solar cells only does 30 per second, but this is again providing the whole blueprint goes down. Also, don't forget, if you're thinking that, you know, you'd really like these guys to launch faster, you can always spray them. If you spray the sails, well, they're slippery, and if they're slippery, they'd launch faster, so therefore you can launch twice as many. Same applies to rockets. If you make rockets slippery by spraying them with juice, it acts like lube.
Lube-mobile gets the whole job done.
They go faster. Yeah, it's a thought and an option. Okay, so once this is built, we will be able to see, well, this is on number 13, you'll be on 12, you'll be on 11, you'll be on 10. There's many, many, many different targets, and that's fine with me. I like having the Skittle sails, yes. And when we get back to the start, which was here, it was here. It's the left of copper. It is here. This is a gap. Yep. All right. Once we get back to here, I need to find some way to actually. Ooh, not that one. That one. I need to find some way to actually get sails down here. So what we're going to do is go to this tower, which already has sails. I'm going to throw those back in there, and we're going to bring sails out right here in the middle, number 3, and bring them straight down over that belt and just side load them in there. That's all we need to do, and that should get the sails up and running. Cool. Now I have a couple of problems. My first problem is power. Currently I'm generating about 1 gigawatt. This blueprint, when it goes down for the planetary defense, or the planetary protection blueprint, it does about 1 gigawatt worth of power between burning off the hydrogen on the pole and all the wind turbines. Assuming you have 100% wind ratio. If you have more, obviously you get more. If you have less, obviously you get less. Also depends on your luck with geothermals and what level your hives were. There's a lot of variables in there, but it's around about 1 gigawatt worth of power. It does use about 200 megawatts running the shields to make sure that, well, we're defended, because that would be important. I feel like there's a shield that was missing right about here. Shield there. Yeah, you should have a shield. Can I get 1 shield, please? And we'll just dump you here. And I will eventually sail past there and fix that. That's literally where that copper patch is. Yep. So uses about 200 megawatts just running the shields, and then I've spent a whole lot of power on, well, these guys. These guys are going to use a 1.4 megawatts each. It happens to be 1.8 megawatts, it turns out, and you guys happen to use 18 megawatts. So I have a small power problem. To solve my small power problem, we're going to find somewhere convenient to build, which is here. Looks actually actually there looks fine. Okay, we're going to go to here. Once we get to here, we're going to put down one of these guys. And just to confirm, I have that much build space. So we're going to go with... Okay, there. No, there. All right. Then I have brought with me energy exchanges. yeah, we've been using these previously on, not on our homeworld, but on Hope, to keep the lights on. Transferring power from our Foundry planet across to Hope just to keep things rolling. But, well, Hope doesn't need the power anymore, whereas this planet does. So we're going to set you to discharge. We're going to give you a friend. Ooh, nope. I want to build over to my right, it turns out. You. Yeah. Oh, that copper's in the way too. You know what? How about we build here then, and we'll build to the left. Unless there's one on the other side of the planet. There's one right there. Okay. Can we go to here then? Alright, can I put down transportation? Can I put you about here? Cool. And energy exchanges. You will go here and here. You're going to be set to discharge and copy and paste. And we're just going to have a row of them. That's a little start. Can I get a few more? What? Oh, well, you don't actually technically need it anymore. Okay, how many is this? That's 5, 7. I've got 30 on me, but I don't know if I actually want all 30 of them up and running. Okay, we're going to start with 5. I think 5 is a good start. Splitters. So I want a splitter here. Well, you guys are not centered. Don't care. No, don't care. There. And how many is that? A bit more than 5. Okay, we're going to have you output item number 1. We'll go here, and here. And then you go in there, you come out 2 tiles, you go back to here and back into the tower. Okay, so plan is simple. We're going to use a bunch of these to discharge a bunch of batteries, because that way we can move power from one system to another. Now, in saying that, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to have a problem that each of these are good normally for 50 megawatts worth of power, because that's as fast as they can charge or discharge a battery. In saying that, I have a slight advantage because we've sprayed the batteries. Well, in our case, the batteries can be discharged at a rate or charged at a rate. Should add that as well. They'd also be charged. Hello. Okay, there to there to there. They can also be charged at a rate of 100 megawatts each. So this is 6 of them, which is 12 of them, which is 1.2 gigawatts. Yeah, this should provide us 1.2 gigawatts, which is good because I need some extra capacity because I still need to set up smelting on this planet, a lot of smelting. So our plan is going to be bring in buildings. We're going to bring in accumulators in the charge variety. I'm going to say 3,000. I think I love you 3,000, but I also think I might need more. I'm not sure. There's a distinct possibility I might need more in transit going back and forth. All depends on, well, yeah, I might need more both in transit and in the total loop. But we're going to hit remote demand and hopefully they show up fairly quickly. On top of that, I should add that research-wise, our vessels now move 1,400. So they're going to move 1,400, then 2,800, and then 4,200. Yeah. So we're going to overstock this a little bit, at least for the first run or two. After that, it will wait till it gets down to, sub 3,000, and then it will bring in another 1,400, which should take us up to like 4,400-ish, and then wait till it gets down to 3,000 again, so on and so forth. That is also assuming we have a full load, as I'm going to set these to around about 30% each. 30% of 1,400 is odd number insert here. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit variable depending on, well, how often they're coming in. But that should get us up and running. Can I? Actually, they can stay there and we just remove that and remove that. Okay. So they need to come in. No idea where they are. No idea how long they're going to get here until they get here. But in the meantime, I'm going to go build these guys. Yeah. And at the there we go. Batteries have arrived. And instantly power's great. Power's great, power's perfect. We have plenty of power. Cool. So next thing I need to do is I need to set up smelters. So I have 1 million iron. I'm pretty comfortable with my, for every 2 million resources, we put down 1 smelter. And can I find, where's a good spot to start building? Here's a good spot. We're going to want a smelter or 2. So I need to, on this planet and others, in fact, just about every planet we've visited so far, not many of them are fully set up with smelters. Mainly because I haven't had the ability to mass dump down things like logistics stations with robots. Also mass transport things around the galaxy. Which is why... you know what? Can we just put in a temporary tower? Because that's really all I need. I need a temporary tower absolutely anyway. And we're going to put you there. And in there, I'm going to need, obviously, smelters. Doesn't matter really what I set this number to, because it's going to be a minimum load decided to by the other end. So we're going to go with, sure, 1,000. Belts, some number and demand. 1,400, 2,800, and sorters. How many sorters are required in one of these blueprints? 96. And we're probably okay on sorters for a little while. But I need, if we go out to map view, I need 1 iron. If I follow my rule of thumb of every 2 million equals 1 million, in saying that, let's find our iron smelter. Our iron miner. There we go. Every single one of the advanced miners does have an option to slide up like this, which now does 6,402 per minute. This is doing 2,142 per minute. You consume 2,880 per minute. So technically, as is, without me doing anything, this doesn't quite support 1 smelter. But I can slide this slider up and then support 2 smelters, or maybe not quite 3. But then again, as we do more mining vein utilization research, we have a mining speed boost of 170% currently, and that's going to go up with more and more research. So I'm at the point where I can afford the power, mostly, not 100% guaranteed, but mostly, to slide up the collection speed. So I think we're going to change the rule of thumb to, well, for every 1 million resources, we put down a smelter. Why for you not happy? Too close to another logistics station. Oh, it's the big one. Okay, clear. Go away. So, can I get another iron smelter? I'm going to drop you right there. What did I say? I had copper. I've got 9 million. So again, smelters, copper smelter, 1, 2, 3. That silicon patch is in the way. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Over here. Cool. I'm already out of sorters, I can see. Okay, I'm no longer out of sorters. What else? Silicon. 17. Yeah, that's a smelter or 2. 1, 2, 3. Nope. 4, 5, 6. Not a belt. 7, 8, 9, 10. Can I get a big tower? Where the hell am I physically on the planet? There. That'll do. Turns out, I need more belt. Yep. I'm also going to need more sorters. I can already see that now. And can I also have more smelters? Because I feel like that's going to be an issue really soon. Okay, back to blueprints. Silicon smelter. There. So it's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yep. 2 titanium. 1 and 2 and 1 stone. Stone smelter for glass. It's that one, and you might notice I have updated all my blueprints, so now I can just place them down. They're automatically going to go down with well, sorter Mark 3 and a conveyor belt Mark 3. In saying that, these guys don't really need the extra power and the extra advantage of the pile sorter, but that's optional. That's optional. You'll probably find if you grab my blueprints, there's going to be 2 different versions. One that has a normal Mark 3 sorter and also one that has a pile sorter. Only really applicable if you've started a new game. If you already have an existing game, you're probably fine. I might also need drones. We'll see. But yes, I'm going to leave this episode here because I have a smelter or 3 I need to build. The intergalactic delivery service is going great, except technically I'm good there. Also, technically I'm good on smelters. But in saying that, I also need to go to Rana number 1, and it doesn't have any smelters, so it needs a smelter or 3. Also, Cyrus, we never set up, well, Cyrus 1, no, not Cyrus 1, Cyrus 3 just exports raw resources, and Cyrus 4 also just exports raw resources. So they also need a smelter or 10. So I'm going to leave this episode here. I'm going to set up some deliveries, and I will see you guys in the next episode after I've put in just a little bit worth of, well, smelting. Yeah, just the tiniest amount. All right, that's it. We're out. Thanks for watching. See you next one. Bye.